Does your name capture your true essence? Learn how a spiritual name that aligns with your highest self can create profound impact on your life and business. Stay tuned.
I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of The Love Method and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. In this podcast, we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically, so you can create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Namaste. Entrepreneurs know that a business name helps to convey your brand. But did you know a spiritual name can have an impact too? Well, stick around because we're going to dive into that today. I am Gloria Grace. I help female entrepreneurs release negative thought patterns like self-doubt that might be keeping you stuck so that you can grow a business that is in alignment with your soul's purpose. And this topic has been on my mind for a while. So let's dive in a little bit in just some basics, first of all, of what is a spiritual name. And if you Google it, which I did actually, just to kind of see what old Google has to say about this subject, there's lots of different definitions, lots of different opinions about it. So a couple of things that I found out with number one is that within many traditions, a spiritual name is one that is given to a student by a teacher to enrich their sense of self. And it actually serves as a marker towards your true identity and also an invitation to sort of really live into that name and lean into what that means as an embodiment of your soul. And I was raised Catholic, and I know part of the process of really becoming a full member of the Catholic Church, you go through a sacrament called confirmation. And at that time, you are given a new name to symbolize your full membership in the church. And on a side note, I didn't take another name, which I find interesting in retrospect. I know my sister did. I think her confirmation name was Christina or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. Or maybe it was Teresa. It might have been Teresa, actually. Anyway, but I didn't take one. And we're going to talk about me a little bit more later because, again, that's my name is what inspired this episode today. But anyway, what else? Kundalini Yoga says that a spiritual name is the designated destiny that becomes your identity on the earth. And ultimately, whether it's a spiritual name or the name you were given by your parents, it's what you are known by in this world. And it carries significant influence on the flow of energy in your life. You can go into numerology about this. There's lots of things. In fact, I had the good fortune a while back to have someone really delve into like the numerology of my name. And there's a whole symbolism that has to do with, I don't even remember the name of it now, but if I think of it later, I'll share it with you. But anyway, there's a lot that goes into it. So it's interesting. It really does carry some significance for you. And just here, some examples of people who adopted a spiritual name and how it sort of changed the trajectory of their life a little bit, or maybe instilled in them a bigger purpose. And one of the ones, which I did not know this, is that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his father actually changed his name. He adopted the name Martin Luther after he had gone to Germany. And so he changed the name to Martin Luther after the German Protestant leader. And here we see Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. becoming this, amazing leader of, the civil rights movement here in the United States, and probably probably his impact has been felt all around the world. Going back a long time ago, we've got Buddha, who was previously known as Siddhartha Gautama, and Mother Teresa. Her birth name was Agnes, but when she entered the sisterhood, and they gave her the name Teresa. And so that's the name that she took on. And of course, she led an exemplary life as well. So essentially, a new name can be one that you can adopt, and it can empower you to perhaps go on a different journey. It could impact you in ways you may not even think of today, but it could even perhaps open yourself up to new gifts, or certainly help you to gain momentum on your journey. And of course, strengthen your sense of identity. And so that's where I want to go a little bit personal here before I kind of go into some more things about, like how to go about perhaps choosing a spiritual name. So my name is Gloria Grace, and that was the name that my mother gave me. I was the third of three children. I was the baby of the family. There was a 10-year difference between me and my older sister, and my 14 years difference between me and my brother. So my mom used to, lovingly say that I was a gift from God. And I guess that's where she came up with this name of calling me Gloria Grace. And for years, I just went by Gloria. That I didn't use the middle name. I didn't, most people don't use their middle names, I think, unless it's one that's like Mary Beth or something like that, where it naturally fits in. So I just went by Gloria for years and years and years and years, until I started my own spiritual journey. And when I was writing my book, in particular, Live, Love, Engage, I realized that that my mother had given me this amazing name, not just the Gloria part, but Grace. And that I would be wise to take that name on. And so I adopted that professionally now. So my book, it says it's written by Gloria Grace Rand. I use that on social media everywhere. And so that's been fine for the last few years. I've been doing that. Now, over the past year, and this started really over a year ago now, year and a half ago, actually, I was talking with someone who was doing some channeling, and she suggested to me, or actually this channeled guide suggested, that I should start going by Grace, because Gloria was the past and Grace is my future. And I sat with that for a very long time and wasn't quite sure how to deal with it. Because here's the thing, when you decide to change your name in this day and age of digital stuff, when you go onto social media, it's not so easy. I mean, sometimes you can go ahead and easily change it, or maybe you have to almost create a whole new profile, it seems like. So I wrestled with that for a while and wondering, do I want to drop Gloria, which is a name that I've been known by my whole life, over 60 years now, and just go by Grace? I tried introducing myself to new people by Grace as opposed to Gloria. And then an interesting thing started happening. Even as I was resisting this, I found myself being called Grace anyway. Even if like on Zoom, my name was listed as Gloria Grace, we'd go into a breakout room and they would call me Grace. Maybe it's easier because it's only one syllable. Gloria is 3. Maybe it's for expediency's sake. I'm not sure. Anyway, I've decided that, one of the compromises I came up with, and for those of you watching this, whether you're watching me on social media or you're watching it on YouTube, you'll notice that I have my name Grace in quotes. And so I was able to do that on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and here, to sort of connote that, yes, my name is Gloria Grace, and you can call me Grace. You can use that as my more familiar name, I guess we could say. I can't do that on Facebook though, doggone it. So instead I put Grace in parentheses after my profile name. Yeah. different thing. So that's kind of the compromise I've come up with, and I've decided that both names are good. Both names reflect who I am. I don't need to adopt a whole nother name because they are what I want to embody really in the work that I do as a holistic business guide, helping people, teaching them about the love method, and which is really about how to embrace your divinity. So that's what I'm going with. So let's talk about if you would like to perhaps either uh, to adopt a spiritual name. If you don't have one that really resonates with you already, how can you go about doing that? Well, you can, what I would recommend, number one, is to spend some time on introspection about this. You know, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's walking out in nature. Maybe it is sitting and meditating. Maybe it's journaling. And ask yourself, ask your higher self and say, is there another name that could serve me at this where I am in my life right now, where I am on my spiritual journey? And be patient with yourself because something may not come up right away. In fact, I would hazard a guess that it won't come up right away unless you're really aligned, and then maybe it will. So that can be one way. It can be also, you may want to go to talk with someone like a shaman or something like that who might be able to work with you and see by kind of doing whatever shamans do and figure out what would be a good name that could help you to really step more fully into your role here on this planet at this time and place. So be curious about it. Ultimately, I think that's the one I want to talk to you about. Be curious about it, and know that whatever you do choose, that I believe it will help you not only in your personal life, but it'll also help you with your business. Because when you can have something like that, where you've adopted this sort of a new persona, if you will, and then you embody that, that's going to show up. It's going to be how you show up in your business, how you show up online. And I think it could be a really powerful way of being. It's another aspect of your personal brand. I did a podcast about this last year, where I talked about really personal branding and how to go about doing that. So if you're a new subscriber, I encourage you to go check that out. It's called Brand You: Melding Spirituality with Personal Branding. So that was sort of encompassing spirituality. But today I wanted to focus more on actually a spiritual name. And I just realizing I was supposed to be doing some branding of my own today while I was going about this, and just reminding people where they can subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Oh, well, hey, when you're the solo producer of your podcast, there's only so many things you can remember to do. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about this? Yeah, so really, I think a spiritual name is a worthwhile pursuit, but you don't have to. Here's the thing too. If you are quite happy with your name and you feel that you embody what your name means, and I would encourage you to, if you don't know what your name actually means, there's all sorts of wonderful resources online that you can do. You search baby names and they'll, girls' baby names, boys' baby names, and you'll be able to get the meaning. And then see if what your parents gave you, if you wound up living up to that, because I think it would be interesting. I have to check my kids and see how they're coming on theirs. Sometimes parents just name you for, relatives, or it's their favorite name, or the name that they could agree on, and also at the same time, I think maybe the name they agree on or the name of a relative is because there's a part of them and a part of you. I think we all come in here with sort of soul contracts that, we might think we have, we're just making this decision in the moment, but really it's our higher self that is sort of directing behind the scenes, as it were. And that's why they got that your child has that name, or why you have the name that you have now. Yeah, I think that's I don't know if I've covered everything that I said I was going to cover today, but I feel like I have. And if you have any questions, feel free. You can go, you can reach me on social media. I'm at Gloria Grace Brand on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or you can also go to my website. If you go to engageWithGloria.com, schedule a call if you want to chat about it a little bit. There's no obligation. It's not a sales call or anything like that. It's just a conversation. As my a lovely woman I know named Trish Carr wrote a book about that sales it's just a conversation, but this is not a sales call. It will be truly just a conversation. And then perhaps if you are interested in working with me, then we could talk about that. But that's not the purpose of this, not at all means. So let's see. Okay. One other thing that I have found in my journey, in my spiritual journey, a tool that I use besides meditation and journaling, which I've talked about on the podcast before, is something called light language. And it is a truly powerful healing modality. Sound healing is how I practice it. Others use written light language. And it's a way it's a communication that speaks to your soul. And so I thought what I would do today is invite the realms, this multidimensional language to come through to speak to you, perhaps to give you some guidance if you are interested in adopting a spiritual name. So if you are, I would set that as your intention and ask for whatever message to come through for you today would be something to support you in that selection process. So if you are listening to this right now where you are operating machinery, as they say, driving a car, maybe you're on a treadmill at the gym, come back and listen to this later, pause it and come back, because this is something that I invite you to be able to just sit quietly, close your eyes, and allow the sounds and the melody that will come through to speak to your soul, because it can be a very relaxing message. And if this is your first time, if you never heard light language before, just know that you're not going to understand it necessarily. It will sound like a foreign language to you, and that's okay, because it's not for the mind, it's for the heart. It's for the heart and the soul to understand. So so what I would invite you to do right now is just sit back, relax, ground yourself a little bit, put your feet on the floor, take a breath, release it, and set that intention for some divine wisdom to come through today. Konania no kuyata keata kea, takaya no kae kayo dotua, asion no kea no kue, anayo takayo teata kea, hoshana kare hasoku, anya no kori kare roto kuete, 平野の子小屋とやのくわて足やとけあよのくわあんだしやとかあんのくあよとかななのこやたせ平野の子しょなかよとあのやのこあのえとえや星や星おかよのえはこよのかよのこあよのこえかよのこへかやそこほなあそよてやこやのこへしゃのこやとあかあしゃのこやとえんたけほくかのあそよとよとこやとこあそかやなとえ。I hope that helps bringing you a little clarity, a little insight today, and to be able to see if you want to be able to come up with another name, an additional name for yourself, because why not, right? Absolutely. I think we can have names like personas so that we could be, because some people go by a nickname, maybe when they're with their family or their friends. And some people use then their formal name when they're dealing with their business, with clients. So we can have multiple names. So see what resonates for you, see what comes up for you, and if you decide to adopt a name or you've already done one, I'd love to know your experience with that. So do share a comment. Like I said, go to social media, and especially the best place I would say would be LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn there, or YouTube, of course. And definitely, I'd love to hear your comments about that. And let's see, I think that's going to be it for me today. So I thank you for listening, for watching, and I encourage you to tune in next time when we will have leadership expert Jennifer Nash joining us to talk about some practical business stuff, like how employers can create a better employee experience. Because we're business owners, and if you want to have a team and you want to grow your business, you need to know how to treat your employees well. So I hope you'll join us for that. And until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.